Okay, here we go. We're gonna apparently Viva Frei is interviewing Mr. Rekieta about his case and see what's going on. This
Do I
was
see
what?
Rekieta Law in the backdrop
Yesterday.
here? Do I see Rekieta Law in the backdrop here? I see Nick Rekieta, who was covering with Andrew Bronca today. Nick, it's been, so what's new, Nick?
Oh, some things.
You're gonna have, like, every time you appear somewhere now, you're gonna have, like, they're gonna get the elephant in the room out of the room.
Yeah.
Nick, it's good to see you again.
Thanks, man. It's really good to see you. Good to talk to you. It's been way too long.
Oh, I forgot to put
I'll
the
get the
Vice
elephant out of the
article.
room really quickly and really succinctly. 11 months ago, I was arrested. I had a bunch of cocaine in my house. I shouldn't have had that, but I did because of all sorts of reasons, mostly doing it. Um, and I've been dealing with the legal fallout from that for the past 11 months. Just on Friday, I was sentenced after pleading guilty to third-degree possession, and now I finally get to move on. I don't have to go to jail. I don't have to go to prison. I have some probation to do, and I'm really looking forward to that. But now I get to go back to work and
It's
seeing all you wonderful people.
do we call it a deferred sentence where you behave properly, you don't do bad, and they will
Yeah,
defer
so
what it was
oh
30.
yeah, I get yeah, I think when I first said it on Legal Mindsets, I didn't understand the whole thing. So it's like he's supposed to stay out of trouble for like the next 5 years, basically.
3 days that they would have otherwise sentenced you to.
Yeah, there's two components to it. So first is I have a guilty plea, but I'm not actually convicted. So I will not be convicted of the felony charge. I won't be convicted of a misdemeanor or gross misdemeanor.
Yeah, this is where the five, as long as he's clean for 5 years, I think, right? Then they won't put the charges on.
I've received what's called a stay of adjudication. So the judge listens to your guilty plea, does not actually accept the plea, but they basically hold it. They hold it in the file. And as long as you comply with probation, the charges will be dismissed as if they were dismissed
Yeah.
by motion.
So as long as he,
they will have no
yeah, basically as long as he follows the rules for like whatever it was, 5 years, he'll be fine. They'll drop everything.
impact on my rights. I will be able to own guns. I will be able to vote, all of those things. In lieu of that punishment, which would also include, I believe, 21 months in prison. So I don't want that one. That's a bad one. In lieu of that punishment, there's a probation period. And in my case, that is up to 5 years, which is the maximum that's allowed for this type of offense. And it's up to 5 years because it can end early if the conditions of probation are met. But during that time, my real conditions are I have 80 hours of community service. I have no drugs or alcohol, and I'm subject to random testing. And that's really about it. I also would be
Oh,
ordered to
okay.
treatment, but I've already done that.
So it's
So I
not the
don't have to
he
do
just has
treatment
to stay
again.
out of trouble and fulfill
Now,
the
that
whatever
did
the
come with 30 days of jail
court
time,
wants.
minus the 2 I served when I was arrested. However, that's the deferred part you're talking about. And so that is up until August 1st. If I have complied with probation through August 2nd, that 30 days goes away completely.
Can I ask you anything?
Yeah.
That you can do. So when did rehab? I mean, I'll preface this by saying most people of good faith, in fact, everybody of good faith, and most people, even if they don't like you, are more interested in just how you're doing and surviving and coming back from. What was the rehab like? Where did you go to rehab?
I didn't have to go to rehab. So in Minnesota, when you have a substance crime, they order what's called a Rule 25 assessment. It's a chemical use assessment. So you talk to a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. You tell them
Yeah,
your
you
history
either
of
go
drug
to
use
rehab or
as far
talk
back
to a
as you can
counselor
remember,
or
any
something.
substance use history. And then they have some other factors
Well,
as
I
well
mean,
involving mental
it
health
would
and physical
depend
health.
on
And you
whatever
go through this long interview
they
process. It
want you
takes
to
about
go
2
through.
hours,
I don't know.
and it's very
It's
comprehensive.
dependent on state
And then
to
they make a
state.
determination on a diagnosis if they want, and then a determination on what needs to happen going forward. So I was very candid with my licensed drug and alcohol counselor. I've actually known them for a long time as an acquaintance, not as a close friend or anything. But it was nice to be able to have that comfort to open up to someone, just tell them everything, and know that you're going to get a fair hearing from it. They did not diagnose me as an alcoholic or an addict. They
Okay.
obviously I was abusing substances, but they didn't go as far as saying there was an
Yeah,
addiction
he's not
issue.
an addict.
And so I was
Well, that's good.
prescribed the lowest level of treatment,
He
which
was
is
just
40
abusing
hours of
drugs.
relapse prevention which is basically it's 40 hours of group therapy. You go in, talk to other people who have had issues with drugs,
Dragu
and are either
Abusu.
there voluntarily or because the court has ordered them to be there. And you get just tools for really anything. These guys come from all walks of life. So for some people, like there's anger management sections, there's just good decision making sections,
Yeah,
and then
there's
things
basically
about avoiding or
counselors
identifying
for
triggers
all
for
those
use and then avoiding those triggers, etc. But yeah,
microaggression.
Let me try a little
Literally.
bit. Like I could assess my own childhood. Like when you're answering these questions, how far back do you go, and when? I mean, from an external perspective, we can all say, having observed you, when we found it to be becoming a visible problem. From
Mhm.
On a personal level, like what was your history like? I mean, we saw
Pretty
the
basic.
climax.
Pretty basic and probably surprising. I mean, I had a couple run-ins with marijuana, and I mean like literally used marijuana like 3 times around the time I was 15 to 18. And then I really didn't use I think I had weed once in college. I was not a drug user. And then sometime around, well, when I was 40, I just decided to delve into some hard drugs. And there's a bunch of really personal reasons that I won't get into for it. But I, mostly did cocaine, MDMA, and ketamine. A little bit of I preferred hallucinogens, so a little bit of LSD and mushroom experience as well, but I stayed away from anything that's an opiate or meth. I'm not in any way interested in those things.
No
So
opium?
mine, the
Oh.
typical kind of party drugs,
Good
and
tip.
I enjoyed the heck
I'm
out of them,
sorry.
but that got me in a
Opium
lot of trouble.
wine!
So
Straight wine!
Now,
Straight
the question
wine!
is this: is it? Have you ever seen the movie Owning Mahoney?
nope.
It's with the guy who died of an overdose from Boogie Nights, Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour
Right?
Hoffman, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about
Yes.
gambling addiction, which in terms of everything is analogous to drug addiction. And at the end of the movie, he's seeing his therapist, and he says, what was the best you've ever felt like gambling? He said 11 on 10. He says, what was the best you've ever felt like not gambling? He said 6 on 10. And he says, well, how would you feel living the rest of your life on a 6 on 10? And he says, fine. And then the irony in real life is he ended up dying. But is it? This is a thing where, like, listening to Russell Brand, it's now this is a perspective for the rest of your life going forward, right?
I mean, I guess I it's hard to describe because in my situation is mine, and my situation involved my personal drug use, which people did see. Like it was, I'm broadcast every day and often broadcast on substances. But even when I
Oh, man.
wasn't, like
He
the
was
effects of
drinking a
those
lot,
were,
that's
were
for
pretty
sure.
apparent as kind of an ongoing thing. It takes a while to just have that flush out of your system. But I don't have a physically addictive issues from most things. I don't know of anything I'm physically addicted to. I have dealt with other types of addictions, in the past, video games primarily, but I've never had anything like that involving physical substances. What was also happening was I had a lot of personal issues that had been piling up for years, and that was running in tandem. And so those two things sort of fed off each other, energizing and creating like this massive ball of catastrophe that all hit at the same time. And that's when everything kind of really, I guess I hit rock bottom would be the expression. That's when I would be arrested right after that. But having those things go in
I
tandem
mean, I wouldn't
was
say hit
brutal.
rock bottom,
As
but
far as substance use goes,
went
I went
down
40
the
years without
wrong
using any
path.
drugs, and
I
think I'm
guess.
very fortunate in that I have no desire. Like I don't care to do them right now. I don't know how I'd feel in the future, but I don't have any like. There's no compulsion there. There's no need or like, gosh, I really long for it. I had fun. Don't get me wrong. And there's lots of things that I liked about what was going on. I'm not going to lie and say because you don't do these things because they're not fun, right? Like that's why they're compelling. But I don't do those activities that were associated with my use, so I don't really have any purpose to do them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
no. Well, it
yeah.
makes sense. And I say, like, in your misfortune, you're fortunate enough that I say you might have hurt some other people, but the only person you really hurt is yourself. You didn't kill anybody else. You didn't die of an overdose. I mean, like,
Right.
there's some small blessings in your misfortune. And
Yeah,
at the end of it,
I
I mean,
mean,
I
with all
know
things
you had
considered,
traditional. I don't know how religious you
right?
were.
It didn't
Um,
get out of hand.
I've
any more
always
religious
been,
now?
God has always had my back. no matter what, through my entire life. And it took me a while to learn that. But I learned that in my early 20s when I would look back on a hard time and realize like that I was way up from where I was. Before that hard time, you'd go through it and then you go to the next peak, and the next peak is higher. I'm waiting for the next peak and to see what it is. I mean, I have no idea. But God's had my back through all of this. Things could have been a lot worse legally. They could have
Uh-oh,
been a
here
lot
we go. The
worse financially,
religious
but
aspect.
everything was always taken care of through, but by the grace of God, and my faith has never wavered. People may not understand because I have probably some different opinions in them, but the one thing that I've
Oh,
always adhered to is
I mean,
that
I
I
always
know that
joke about
that
the fucking whole
God loves
Christian,
people.
fucking
I love people, learned it from
religion
Him,
thing.
and as long as I stay faithful to that, I think that I can make mistakes, but ultimately that's the right perspective to have. And I mean, I'm going to make more mistakes in life. I just
Just
hope they're
may
not
they
catastrophic
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like this.
may they be slightly less extreme than those. Anyways, Nick, I'll say you're looking good. You're certainly looking better, and you're looking good. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh
Godspeed. Now,
yeah.
by the way, so you're back up. You're back up, and you're able to stream, and you're doing. Are you doing the midnight to 5? Or you got to change your style. You got to change the. You got to change your
Um,
time frame.
well, I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm not quite sure what the ultimate result will be. But what's been going on now is the Karen Reed trial started today, and so that's for now. I'm 8 to 4 Central Time.
That is a much
Um,
better time schedule than midnight to 5. Nothing good happens after midnight. You should be okay.
no, so
Oh,
that schedule though was picked for a very particular reason. I have narcolepsy, and narcolepsy isn't just falling asleep. It is daytime fatigue, but in a weird way, your
What's
brain kind of
wrong with the
flips. When you get
DGen
tired,
hours? There's
your brain
nothing
tells you you're
wrong with the
awake.
DGen
And
hours.
so, ever since we had children, my
You're
wife and
not a
I, our
true
oldest is
DGen
17.
if you
I was
don't
always
know
awake
those
at night, and
hours.
so when the kids needed someone at night, I was usually awake late. And then also, if we were sleeping, I would wake up. I could grab grab a baby who's crying, change the baby, bring it to mom to feed. Baby finishes eating, take the baby back to the crib, put it down, and I go to sleep immediately again. Like I wouldn't stay up because narcolepsy, you can just go out. I'm out in under 5 minutes every time. So it was kind of a tool that became really effective. I was up late all the time anyway, helped out with the kids. And then uh, the thing that became really beneficial was if I started my show at 11 p.m., which is where my time slot kind of ended up, the kids were in bed and asleep generally by 11 p.m. So I could do my show uninterrupted. I could be around for the family for the rest of the day. What happened though is as my kids got older and I didn't necessarily have obligations, I would let that stretch out longer and longer. And then, of course, with the substances, it became, that became a less ideal time. I don't know that it's going to be that way anymore. It's not really necessary to be in that time. But right now, I've got 6 weeks of trial, so I'm not super worried about figuring out that schedule just yet.
6 weeks of Karen Reed trial. Not nothing. You are.
Yeah, not
Your,
mine.
your
Mine's done.
schedule is clear now. So you still got the locals, right?
Yes, we still have locals. I broadcast to YouTube and Rumble, Rekieta Law. So if you're looking to watch the Karen Reed trial, and it is full, it's
They
a
spelled it
retrial.
wrong.
I can recap today if you want.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Well, so
retrial,
it's
and
the retrial of the initial trial where she was. Was it a hung jury the first time? It was a hung jury, and
jury,
they
yes.
couldn't come back with a verdict.
Right.
All right, there you have it. I mean, Mr. Rackets looks better. At least he's not fucking getting hammered all the fucking and super hammered all the time at night. I mean, he can't drink anymore now. Can't do any more drugs. No druggoos. All the druggoos, no more. He must stay clean. He must be abstinent. He's on prohibition. Anyways, I'm sure he's gonna do fine.